Hey everyone, Edgy Berserker here with more art. This time we're gonna have some watercolor rock talk. As you can see by the little tubies that are on the desk, we will be discussing Daniel Smith watercolors. Now I'm sure you're probably wondering, Edgy, these are high end. what, how are you gonna make with only those amount of tubes? Well, I know mixing exists, but not only that, these dots exist. So these dots exist. They have a dot of watercolor on it. These pages generally go for, I think, $8.99 per sheet Canadian. But wanna know what the best part is? I mean, that watercolor dot will last quite a bit, but because there was like a going out of business sale, I picked up 2 extra ones at this one art store. So I have a lot of extra dots. So I am going to be able to talk about Daniel Smith watercolors pretty well. They've become my, I'd say, second favorite watercolor. First favorite being Holbein. But I figured I was going to feature this one first because, you know, I just wanted to show off, like especially because I have a lot of the granulating ones, show off those, and yeah, just go from there, really. And I figured it's like, you know, sometimes it's just nice to see how a high-end watercolor works. What's the one brand? Schmicky? I don't know. I've only heard about it as Schmicky or something like that. Probably got that wrong. My apologies. I've only heard of that one, but I can't find it anywhere in Canada, so I know nothing about it. But these ones, though, I've been doing, just building a palette, and I'll show here because actually I have a tube for which one is it? The Duochrome Cabo Blue. I don't know if that shows up on there. I'll edit it out if it didn't. But the tube I got, this side, this is Holbein. Ignore this side. We want this side only. I got the tube, but it ended up being dried out. But that's okay because I got it from like $5. I didn't realize the lid wasn't put on properly. That's what happened there. And another thing about it is that I just mushed in the little piece that I had in the palette. And the rest are inside a little like cup thing, so if I need to slice off another piece of duochrome, I can. It's gonna last forever. Watercolor, they can be reactivated. No big dealio. So we're gonna do a painting. I already did the artwork for it because I figured it would be best to just do it ahead of time because we want to see these watercolors shine, you know? So we're gonna have these guys shine like a diamond. And yeah, let's get to the painting. Voiceover Edgy here, and I started using these watercolors I'd say pretty recently. I'd say about a few months ago, because I got that dot page before the one art store Curry's closed here in the city. So you know, the dots were a great way for me to try these premium paints. You get a lot out of them. Right now I believe I'm using my Scarlet Red that's actually in my palette. Because I was using a big space, and I was like, well, that's kind of an orangey red that works really well for the Heihachi of my heart. And while I was doing this, I was actually watching Evo, which was kind of funny and ironic. Because my plan was to draw Heihachi, and then it's like, well, I'm going to start recording and drawing this. Oh, Evo's on. Cool. I did watch it with on Maximilian Dude's stream. I enjoy his content a lot. He does a lot of fighting games, which people know me from my other channel. I love fighting games. So yeah, I was having a lot of fun. I did do this drawing pre this because as I mentioned before, just was easier, and I just wanted to kind of talk about these watercolors because you know the difference when you use a premium watercolor compared to low end. Mid-grade, you get kind of like a little more ease, but some finishes you're not happy with or you can't layer as much. These ones layer nice. I should also mention this is the first time I've ever used hot press paper, which is basically almost smooth like a Bristol. Inking on this was a dream. Oh my gosh, it was beautiful. Had a lot of fun. I did actually buy an eyedropper so I could just add fresh water to some of the paints as well. So I didn't have to just like dip the paintbrush in the water and then use all the paint that was on the brush. That was one thing that's just like, oh, I should actually solve this problem. Eyedropper was literally only like a few cents though, so it's not a big deal at all. And yeah, these watercolors are a lot of fun to use. As you can see, I'm starting to use the dots now. And those little dots, like I did this, like, I believe I show it in the end, but I did a full painting with those. And that's why they're also swatched out like that too. And I still like using it for a good portion of this painting as well. So I was just getting some shading down, and yeah, it layers nice. And so I just started to get in on some of the grays. I believe I was using Payne's Gray, which by the way is like a very watered down Payne's Gray. I love that color. That's like one of my favorite colors for sure. Of course, then I was thinking about getting a little funky, so I started adding some of the mineral ones that have a bit of a sparkle and shine to them. And it, like, you can't see it on here, and if you saw the painting in real life, you would understand like how much just like kind of just gives that a little extra without being distracting like a metallic could be. I did have to scan this in after. It just kind of worked out though in a way that, you know, it just scanned in well. I lost some details, but they were way too bright, so obviously I couldn't get it fully. Yeah, I find watercolor just a very relaxing medium for me because I like doing the layering and slowly letting it dry and then just, you know, building up your shades and that. Light to dark. That was what I was taught in high school with my one teacher that bothered to teach us this stuff. And yeah, it was great. I had a lot of fun doing this painting. And of course, one of my favorite colors, I think that is, I forget what it's called. It's golden oxide or something like that. I forget. It's a great color. And then I started adding this other color for shading there, and that just worked out perfectly. I really like the granulating paints that are in there because they have like a lot of natural mineral paints in the Daniel Smith line. And I know I'm going to state this at the end of the video, but I'm going to also state it again. If you can get those dots just to try out paints, I highly recommend it. Like, they are a good way, like, they are a great way for someone who wants to try something higher quality to, you know, use the product without breaking the bank. Of course, you could also wait for me and wait for going out of business sales. Jeez. That's just a bummer though, because like my friend and I discovered this on art store only to find out it was closing. That was thankfully though, like I'm saying thankfully, only because thankfully it was a not going out of business. It was a retirement one, so no one else was gonna run it. So the owner was retiring and calling it a day basically. So like in a sense that's way better than you know, closing because no money. And oh, that is sad. It was like out like on the outskirts too, so of course I wouldn't know anything about it, right? I was actually using a I think it was called ultramarine violet or ultramarine rose, something like that, for that shading on the skin, and it actually worked really well. I was worried that I made everything too dark, but as I went on, I actually had just like a nice wash on this. And honestly, I like the lightness of it, the technique that I did for this, because it just worked with the purple ink that I inked it in, because I love inking stuff in purple ink. It's funny because it gives us this warmth, you know? It's so hard to describe that sometimes when you use a different color ink, it gives the drawing just a little bit of that something, you know? So yeah. Of course, yo, shoutouts to my Arteza blank palette, though. That thing's working wonders, baby. I gotta say, I really like that thing. And of course, this you saw me touch up there. I noticed I had a little bit of a red smoosh, so I just kind of wiped it off quick. But, I mean, in the end, though, it kind of worked out. Getting Heihachi's hair in there. I was contemplating what I was doing with the background though, but then I came up with an idea that we'll see shortly. I got the masking fluid actually out. I was like, well, what if I do kind of a lightning design? So it's gonna cut back to that. I was just showing that. You guys didn't need to see me do the masking thing because it actually took me a while. But yeah, now I just started adding the background, but you'll see that lightning effect was starting to happen too, which was working very well. Because I was not I did not use it for a long time, as I said. And I was like, I kind of remember how to use pre-mask. All right, let's go. Thankfully, the pre-mask pen I got, that one has like it's like a Posca pen. So it has a lot of control, which was awesome. So I just got in, started painting. I was seeing the effects happening. I was like, oh, sweet. So so I just started adding some purples and blues. I even added some of the more like duotone iridescent paints on there to add some shine. And the shine works so beautifully. Like, I was very happy with how that background turned out too, because it's just, I don't usually have watercolors work out this well for me. Again, once I started getting back, the only time it did work that well was when I got my Holbeins that I had forever that I found. And yeah, again, high-end paints, right? But yeah, it just kind of worked out very well with like everything. Like, I highly recommend these paints. Be able to get them on sale or just get the dots, I recommend trying them out. I'm gonna say that a lot at the end of this. So here's Heihachi. He turned out very well. The colors are great, the warmth, the shades. You don't really see the shine, but yeah, even the masking fluid worked. So, Edgy of the Past, take us away. And that's the end of the artwork. Yeah, I am super happy with how this Heihachi turned out. The first time in a long time using masking fluid, and I think the effect turned out actually pretty awesome. Hopefully when I scan this in, it doesn't turn out too bad. Obviously because there are some iridescent watercolors in there, so I'm not sure how well they're gonna look. Overall, the Daniel Smith colors, I love how earthy they are. Even just like the ones with like granulating, as you can see around here and here, it just looks nice. This was also, as I mentioned in the voiceover, the first time I've ever used hot press watercolor paper. Again, I got it because there was a going out of business sale, and it's, you know, when you get paper that's like worth $40 or whatever, and you get it for 10, you're gonna stock up. But I've never used hot press before, and I have to say I really love the smoothness of it, especially since I do inking prior. Yeah, so I was very happy with how this turned out. This is actually, if this will surprise you, this is the first time I've ever drawn Heihachi from Tekken. So, just being able to draw him, and on the same day, no less, of the teaser of Tekken 8, I gotta say, I think that was actually pretty cool. But yeah, overall though, if you're gonna try out these Daniel Smith watercolors, I highly recommend getting these dot pages. You can get a lot out of these dots. If you saw in the speed up, I was using those more than my actual palette. But yeah, I highly recommend it. And it's also, I highly recommend just being experimental with watercolors. Layer, wait till things dry, and yeah, definitely give watercolor a try. Again, highly recommend these sheets here. Highly recommend. Especially if it's like a high-end one you're not sure about. By all means, a lot of them do those dot pages, and they are more affordable that way, where you can get a whole bunch of like little sketch things done and whatnot. Heck, I even got this. I did an old painting of Mai back in the day. Actually, you know what? Actually, when I said old painting, it was like the start of this year, around February. This painting of Maya I did, Mai Shiranui, was all done with that dot sheet. So I got a lot out of it, you know? The only thing that wasn't the dot sheet was the skin tone. That was actually Holbein paint. But yeah, that kind of gives you an idea what you can do with these types of like dot sheets. Again, that background was all purple. Guess what? That was the same purple I used in the background for Heihachi. managed to get quite a bit of space out. They're both 9x12 paintings too, so highly recommend, especially those for you want to give it a shot to try out. Give it a shot. You can find those inexpensive on sale. I know they have like full set ones that I think are a little more, but I think you can still get those for decent prices. So do recommend that if you want to give it a shot. And of course, everyone, thank you so much for the support. Thank you for watching. Patreons on my right, over the dots. Thank you so much for your support. You help me keep going. There's Dio jumping on the painting of Heihachi. Miss Dio Brando, the beautiful, cutest little kitty. Finally got the cat shot in there. Hold on. Okay, now I'm just holding her, so it's all good. Yeah, everyone, thank you so much for the support, and I will see y'all later. Bye now.